Tadekam smaramas-tadekam bhajamaha Tadekam jagat sakshirupam namamaha Sadekam nidhanam niradambamisham Bhavam bodhipotam sharanyam vrajamaha Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. On that alone do we meditate, that alone do we worship, to that alone, the witness of the universe, do we bow, to that one who is our sole eternal support, the self-existent Lord, the raft to safety across the ocean of this world, do we come for refuge. Om, peace, peace, peace. Good morning. Today is a holy day. It's called the Ram Navami. This is the 9th day of the cycle of the moon, and it's the day of Ramachandra's birth. So it's celebrated all over India and all over the world where people observe these things as Sri Rama's birthday. So it's a special holy day. So naturally I also thought I would talk a little bit about Rama today. And who is Rama? Rama considered the incarnation, an avatar who took birth to slay the demon Ravana. And really, he's one of the most beloved manifestations of the divine in India. One of the most oft repeated names of God in India is Rama. And his name really has taken on greater significance. It doesn't refer just to the son of Dasharatha who became king of Ayodhya and who slew the demon Ravana. It's a name of the all-compassionate, infinite Lord, Ram Ram. And so the name of Rama really is the name of God. I'd like to chant a beautiful verse, one of my favorites, from Tulsidas. It's in Sanskrit though, and it goes like this. Om Mulam Dharmataror Viveka Jaladhe Purnedumanandadam Vairagyam Bhujabhaskaram Yaghagana Dhvantapaham Tapaham Moham Bodhara Punja Patana Vidho Ke Sambhavam Shankaram Vande Brahmakule Kalanka Shamanam Shri Rama Bhupa Priyam. So this describes Rama, and the idea is that we adore this Rama. Who is this Rama? He who is the very root of the tree of Dharma, and the bliss-giving full moon rising over the sea of Viveka, which is discernment. He is the sun bringing to blossom the lotus of Vairagya, of detachment. He is the dispeller of the massive darkness of sin and the sufferings born of sin. He is like the auspicious and heaven-born wind scattering the heavy clouds of delusion, and the emancipator of the line of Brahmanas from the stain brought on it by Ravana. That Rama, the beloved of all, do I adore. So I'd just like to talk a little about this beautiful verse, such an attractive description of Rama. He was always considered the very embodiment of Dharma. What is Dharma? It comes from the root Sanskrit word dhr, to support, to uphold. So a Dharma is the essence, the essential quality of something. So, for example, if we say water, what's the dharma of water? Well, it's like waterness. It's to make things wet and to flow. These are the dharma of water. So, what is the dharma of human beings? What is that essential thing of the essential quality of human beings? Our divinity. We are divine. So, Dharma is a whole way of life. The orientation of our entire life towards manifesting our true nature, the divinity within. So, any action which we do, which brings us closer to that, which manifests more purity, more truth, more love, more compassion, is Dharma. And anything which takes us away from manifesting our true nature is Adharma. So it's also clear that Dharma varies according to person. A king's Dharma is different from a yogi's Dharma, or a nurse's Dharma, or a doctor's Dharma. The Dharma depends also on our position in life, our place in life. And Rama is described here as the very root of Dharma, because the divine lies at the root of all. So Sri Rama's life also we find is in perfect accordance with the Dharma of a king, of a kshatriya. Perfect dedication to truth, how he wanted to preserve his father's word at all costs. His father had given his word, so yes, the Rama has to obey that. And perfect equanimity of mind, neither elated when something seemingly good happens, nor dejected when something seemingly bad happens. This kind of even-mindedness, a certain nobility, and it's interesting to compare with his younger brother Lakshmana, who was also a great hero, no doubt, but he was very quick to get angry. He was always flying off the handle, getting angry, and say, we'll kill that. Oh, Rama said, wait, let's find out more, calm down, let's see what's going on here. Yes, and so, in certain cases they did have to kill the demons, but not before making sure that actually they deserve that end. So he's a defender of the people. He's a destroyer of the Rakshasas, the demons. He embodies that, what they now call servant leadership. He's a servant of the people. And it describes him also as the bliss-giving moon, rising over the sea of Viveka. How interesting, this discernment, when we really get established in this practice of discernment, of trying to see the divine in everything. Then what happens? We start to taste a joy, the joy of the divine. So Rama is like the moon of joy, the moon of bliss, rising over that sea of discernment. And he's also like the sun, which brings the lotus of Vairagya to blossom. Just as the lotuses, they close up at night, and when the sun comes out, they open up. And Rama is like the sun that opens up this lotus of Vairagya. What is Vairagya? It's sometimes translated as renunciation. It means two things. It means we start to let go of our preoccupation with all the entanglements of our lives and start to get more and more attracted to the divine. So it's a twofold movement, away from our attachments, away from our entanglements, away from all this temporary nonsense, and towards the infinite love, the infinite joy, the infinite peace that is the divine. So, then he is described as destroying the mass of darkness, of sin, or what, in Vedanta we don't really like the word sin, we don't use it. We recognize that yes, we make mistakes, and those take us away from our true nature, they take us away from God, and some people call that sin, all right, but our true nature is divine. But there is such a thing as karma also. We accept that as we do unhelpful actions, those leave a trace in the karmic record, and those traces will manifest in the future as some kind of misery for us. But the great incarnations, the manifestations of the divine, can wipe out that karma. And only they can wipe it out. And this beautiful line, Moham Bodhara Punja Patana Vidho. He's like the Kesam Havam Shankaram. He is the heaven-born, the auspicious heaven-born wind which blows away the clouds, the dark clouds of moha, of delusion. Our minds are clouded. We read, we study, we hear that God is in every being, but it's so hard to see God in every being. It's easy to see God in some people, like my grandson or my granddaughter, right? The grandparents among us. But how difficult it is to see it in other people, to see the divine shining in every heart. Rama is like the wind which drives away those clouds covering our minds so that we can see the divine in all, even in Ravana. And this line, how he purifies the line of Brahmanas. Ravana, the great demon, was actually born as a Brahmana, supposed to be dedicated to Dharma and to truth and to God, and yet he was a very evil king. So the whole line of Brahmanas got stained by Ravana. So by killing Ravana, he's purified the lineage. I'd like to share a little personal story of how I was introduced to Rama, my first introduction to Rama. It wasn't like many people maybe hearing about Rama on their grandmother's knee. And it wasn't by reading about his life or getting the kids, they get the comic books and all the exciting battles of the Ramayana in the comic books. I didn't see any comic books. I didn't see the TV serial in how many episodes, hundreds of episodes of the Ramayana, thrilling. And all of India would shut down when the time for that show comes on. The whole India would shut down, and the poor actor who played the part of Rama, he could never get another part, I think, because he was Rama, and people would seeing him in the street, they'd follow at his feet. See, here's Rama. So, but no, how was I introduced to Rama? By hearing his name and singing his name. Was a small group of devotees in Boulder, Colorado, and they had a little ashrama in the basement apartment of a house. And they used to, the apartment was mostly taken up with a huge shrine. And they used to even have little fire worship service there every day. The ceiling was black with smoke. And it was a kind of a holy couple. They had lived in India. They were American, I think, by birth, but they had lived in India for some time, and they were kind of half monk and nun. And they would sing. The husband had this ektar, which is a single-stringed instrument, which some of the wandering minstrels use. And so he would strum that instrument, and we were gathering maybe 15, 20 of us, maybe 15 of us crammed into that tiny little shrine, and he started singing the name of Rama again and again. And we all started singing with him, and it was intoxicating. It went like this. Though I don't have the ektar, so it's not going to be quite like this, but Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. You can join me. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. One more time. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram. Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama. It's such a sweet and simple name. Just 2 letters, Ra and Ma. In Sanskrit, there were 4 letters in English, but in Sanskrit, just 2 letters, Ra and Ma. And there's a power of attraction in that name. I didn't know anything about Rama, but I knew I was doing something holy. And I think we could even feel it a little just now. As we chant together, join our voices, we start to join our hearts as we invoke the divine, the presence of the divine. So that was my introduction to Sri Rama. Not specifically as the son of Dasharatha and all that, as the divine, invoking the presence of the divine, the joy of tasting the nectar of the divine name. So the topic that was announced for today actually is centered in Rama, always home. And I was thinking about how Rama was exiled when he was in the palace, of course, and he was got married with Sita, and his dad is getting old, and his dad feels it's time to make Rama the king. So he announces to everybody Rama is going to be the king, and it's how joyous, because everybody loves Rama. He's so noble-hearted, he's so all his good qualities. And then, of course, it's like a soap opera, actually. Rama's father had 3 wives, and the mother of Rama was, of course, also thrilled. But the mother of Bharat, his brother, Kaikeyi, she had a wicked maidservant, Manthara, and Manthara, she was feeling jealous. And she had this very dark side to her. She thought, well, if Rama becomes king, then I lose all influence, because Bharat is junior to Rama. Actually, Bharat should be king. And then, because my master's son will be the king. So she poisoned Kaikeyi's mind and said, you know, this is terrible. Rama's going to be king. Bharat should be king. And reminded Kaikeyi that Dasharatha had once given her 2 boons. Long back, she had saved Dasharatha's life somehow. I don't remember the incident, but she got 2 boons. And she said, you should cash in on those boons now. So she did. And she started weeping, faking it, weeping and looking terrible. And Dasharatha said, what's the matter? Oh, well, see, you promised me 2 boons. I want to cash in on them now. 1, not Rama, but Bharata should be made king. And 2, Ram should go to the forest for exile for 14 years. So Dasharatha is shocked. But he gave his word. He's also a righteous man. He had given his word. So he has to. So he comes to Rama not knowing what to do, and he tells Rama the whole thing. And Rama says, of course, Dad. Sure. Yeah, you gave your word. Whatever you say, I'll follow that. I'm going to the forest. And so Rama prepares to go to the forest. And so from his life in the palace, he goes to a very, very austere life, wearing not fine robes, but bark, tree bark, clothes made of tree bark. And living in a little ashrama, living on whatever they could collect in the forest. They weren't vegetarians, though. But so they could hunt. At least that gave them some more nourishment than just fruits and roots. But they ate fruits and roots, and maybe a little meat also now and then. But what happened? He was perfectly okay with that. He was so centered in Dharma, so centered in doing the right thing, that his mind was not at all dejected, thinking, oh, I'm not going to be king. And we saw that before. He was going to be the king. He was not elated at that. Okay, this is what Dad wants. And he was not dejected at this. He simply accepted it. And of course, he was followed by his wife Sita. He thought he'll go alone. But Sita said, how can I live without Rama? You're my whole life. If I'm without you, then the palace itself will be like living in the forest. No, I'm coming with you. And so finally, Rama acquiesces, and Lakshmana, his younger brother, also insists, no, I will come with you. No, Lakshmana, you have to stay and look after things in Ayodhya while I'm gone. No, I'm coming. So finally, he agrees, and so the three of them go to the forest. And they live a life centered in Rama, actually. Lakshmana and Sita, their whole life is centered in Rama. And they make their home in the forest, and they're happy. And then Rama's other brother, Bharat, comes, and he brings the very sad news, Rama, your dad could not bear the grief of what happened, and he has died. And you please come back. You please come back and be the king. But Rama says, no, I have given my word. I can't. You have to be the king. You be the king. And Bharat says, impossible. I cannot be the king. Finally, they work out a deal. Bharat takes Rama's slippers, his sandals, and he brings those sandals back to Ayodhya and places them on the throne. So it's actually Rama is king. Bharat will administer the kingdom, but only on behalf of Rama. This is another example of you can say servant leadership in a different way, where actually Rama is the king and he's just serving, just doing his duty. It's a beautiful example for all of us. Put Rama's slippers on the throne of our life. So we don't have to be in charge of our life anymore. We put Rama's slippers on the throne of the master of our life. We get off the throne and put Rama's slippers there. And then we just do as we do. We just do our duty. We just do what we need to do, following Dharma. And there we are. We are home. You know, this, as an aside, this mantra that the wicked maidservant who comes right out of it, the ancient soap opera of the Ramayana, she, we have people like that in our lives too. There are people whose minds are twisted, they're full of jealousy and warped perception. And actually, there's probably a little bit of mantra in most of us as well. So it's a good lesson to see how much harm that kind of negative attitude brings. And also, how does Rama deal with it? Completely in complete equanimity. He doesn't get troubled by it at all. And this is the thing. So this idea of home. They have made their home now in the forest, and they feel like this is their home. Home is a very powerful idea for us. Home is where we feel safe, our refuge, where we have family, where we have shelter, where we have all our needs taken care of, we have our food there. And every home has a homemaker, those who create that safe space. It might be us. If we live alone, then we are the homemaker, perhaps, of our home. And of course, in families, it's so important for children to have a safe home and feel protected. And for spiritual seekers also, as we are, a sanctuary is very important. Our home is like our sanctuary, can be, ideally would be a spiritual sanctuary, a place of safety, a place of refuge. And as we live there, live our holy life there at our home, it develops good vibrations. We cultivate a shrine, and that becomes a place for us to rejuvenate ourselves, to get in touch with that divine spark which lies so deep within us. Let us not neglect it. Let us not neglect cultivating that home. Create this safe space for us. But also, at the same time, there's a downside to it, or there's a danger. it can become an obsession. I can be happy only when I have the right house, when I have the right or apartment. I can only be happy if my home is perfect. If it's absolutely perfect. I know someone who has a beautiful home, small but beautiful, near the beach, nice neighborhood. It's got a little guest house in the back, beautiful garden. But it's near an airport, and now and then, airplane goes overhead. She could hear that sound of the airplane. She got over it, by the way. When she first moved there, she complained, "Oh yeah, the sound of the airplanes. There's always a fly in the ointment, my friends. There's nothing perfect. So don't get obsessed with that perfection. Cultivate the home. Cultivate that sanctuary, and know that it can't be perfect in that way. But at the same time, Vedanta asks us to continually expand our boundaries. We are to expand our boundaries. All right, my home is my house, but then I also have my neighborhood is also like my home neighborhood. And then there's my home city. And then when it comes to sports, then I feel very much like, my city is my city's team. And then there's a state, my state. And when we're having international clashes, it's my country versus your country, my home country. But Vedanta asks us to continually expand those boundaries until we obliterate them and we go beyond all those boundaries. So that we say, this earth is our home. And then we could go even further and say, this entire universe is our home. If we can learn to start expanding our heart. We human beings have just one home, actually, this earth, for the time being. It's also going to end. But for the time being, this is our home. But we carve it up into all these little pieces and say, this is mine and that's yours. And for some people, they say, oh, you don't get anything. And other people say, oh, I get this much. And so for spiritual seekers, we recognize a higher truth. That we have no true home, no permanent home here on earth. It's temporary. This visit is temporary. So it's more like a rest house. There was a story about a fakir, a Sufi fakir, who came into the palace and camped, just settled down in one of the hallways and like a rest house and started getting ready for the night, sleeping there. And the guards came and said, hey, you can't stay here. This is the palace. And he said, what do you mean it's the palace? He wouldn't leave. So they told the emperor, and the emperor came to check it out. He said, well, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm just staying here, a rest house here. This is not a rest house. This is the palace. Oh, is it? How long have you lived here? Oh, since I was born, I've lived here. Well, who lived here before that? Oh, well, my father was there. Oh, I see. How long did he live here? Well, he was here for 60 years. And who lived here before that? Oh, my grandfather. Oh, so your grandfather and your father, now you, and you say it's not a rest house? Then the emperor realized he was a holy man and he let him stay there for the night. So we're here in this rest house. So where then is our true home? Naturally, our true home is in the divine, in God. There is the root, there is the home. It's a beautiful song that Sri Ramakrishna used to love. It was composed by one of his devotees, a Brahmo devotee named Trailokyanath Sanyal, which begins, Thou art my all in all, O Lord, the life of my life, the essence of essence. In the three worlds I have none else but Thee to call my own. Thou art my peace, my joy, my hope. Thou my support, my wealth, my glory. Thou my wisdom and my strength. Thou art my home, my place of rest. So it goes on like that. It's got a few more verses. This idea that we put our whole mind in the Lord and feel that, yes, ultimately, God is my everything, also my home. So then, who is the homemaker? Rama. Rama is the homemaker. or by whatever name we call the Lord, by whatever name we call our Divine Mother, the infinite, all-merciful divine. Sri Ramakrishna, in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, for those of you who are new, this is a painting of our teacher, Ramakrishna. He often turns to stories from the Ramayana in the Gospel of, in the book recounting many of his conversations. And the name of Rama is often on his lips. He would say, Ram, Ram. Like to clear the air, and we get a little bit sidetracked in our conversation and we start criticizing someone or complaining about something, and then he would say, Ram, 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 Ram. Clear the air. So, and he had this vision of Rama in everybody. I'd like to read a little passage from the book. It's a beautiful passage. It was afternoon, and many devotees were present in the master's room. Sri Ramakrishna, happy child of the Divine Mother that he was, radiated a joy and peace that were reflected in the hearts of his devotees and found expression in their happy faces. They were seated on the floor and had their eyes fixed on the master, who was standing in a pensive mood like a boy. And then he says, I see Rama in all things. You are all sitting here, but I see only Rama in every one of you. One of the devotees pipes up, yes, sir, it is Rama who has become everything. But, as you say, though all water is Narayana, all water is God, yet some water is fit for drinking, some for washing the hands and face, and some only for cleaning pots and pans. Sri Ramakrishna says, true, it is true, but I see that it is God himself who has become everything, the universe and its living beings. This is the exalted state of Sri Ramakrishna, whose the veils over his eyes, his spiritual eyes, were completely lifted, and he could see the divine shining in everyone and everything. Hence his feeling that he was home wherever he was. There's a wonderful incident, illustrative, it was shocking to us, but a wonderful incident illustrating his feeling of being fully depending on the divine and being home wherever he was. His nephew had done, at the Kali temple of Dakshineshwar where he lived, his nephew Hridoy had transgressed the rules of society. And so the temple proprietor was furious with him, and he said, get him out. He's never to come back here again. And then somehow he probably let them all go. And so the authorities came and ejected Hridoy and told Ramakrishna, oh, you also have to go. So he grabbed his towel, put it over his shoulder, and started walking towards the gate. Completely unaffected, not worried at all. Why? Well, Divine Mother will take care. The whole world is my home. This is not my home. If she wants me to go, and then seeing him walking towards the gate, the proprietor, Trilokanath, realized, oh my God, I didn't mean you. He came running and said, no, sir, we didn't mean for you to go. You please stay. And then he said, oh, okay. He turned around, went back to his room. Like that. Like Rama being exiled to the forest. Neither dejected at something happening that's seemingly bad, nor elated at something seemingly good. So the Ramayana is filled with beautiful stories, brimming, as it were, with so many beautiful stories. And they're all suffused, as it were, with the presence and the glory of Rama. Sri Ramakrishna would use some of these stories as teachings. And two of the ones he repeated most often were this one where Rama asks Hanuman, and I should mention, before I get into the story, there are numerous editions of the Ramayana. So some of these stories may be found in one or another of the Ramayana. There's the Valmiki Ramayana, but there's also the Tulsidas Ramayana. There's the Bengali Ramayana. There's the Adhyatma Ramayana, which Sri Ramakrishna especially loved, which emphasizes both jnana and bhakti, both wisdom and devotion, and takes a non-dual approach. So Rama one day asked Hanuman, Hanuman, what attitude do you cherish toward me when you worship me? And Hanuman answered, sometimes I see that you are the whole and I am a part. Sometimes I see that you are the master and I am your servant. But Rama, when I have the knowledge of reality, then I find that you are I and I am you. There's a Sanskrit verse for that. Deha buddhya tvadasoham jiva buddhya tvadangshakaha atma buddhya tvamevaham iti me nishchita matihi. This is my firm conviction that when I feel that I am a body, when I have this consciousness that I'm a body, which is most of us most of the time, then you are the master, I am your servant. When I feel that I am a soul, then I feel that you are the whole and I'm a part of you. And when I'm established in full knowledge of the Supreme Self, then I see that you and I are not separate. You and I are one. So it's a mature attitude, actually, and it's really helpful for us. Studying the scriptures, we know, perhaps sometimes we get an intimation of our unity with the divine. But most of the time, let's face it, we are not there. So in that case, we say, I am your servant. And when we start to feel more that I am a soul, then I know that I am a part of the divine. That realization that I am one with the divine, that may be something that comes a little later. But we should know about it. We should remember that. And yet we act from, I am your servant. And again, Sri Ramakrishna quotes Hanumanji saying, I don't know the position of the stars or the phase of the moon. I think of Rama alone. Illustrating that one-pointed devotion, that one centering one's whole life on the divine. So it's one curious thing about the Ramayana is that although, of course, Rama is the great hero of the text, and yet the glory of the story in many ways is not about Rama, it's about those around him, all of whom are centered in Rama, who love him or even hate him. And Sister Nivedita, Swami Vivekananda's disciple, relates an interesting anecdote. She says, it's a curious thing. When Swami Sadananda talks about the Ramayana, I become convinced that Hanuman is really the hero. And when Swami Vivekananda talks of it, then Ravana is the central figure. So Hanuman is completely centered in Rama through this dasya bhakti, this servant devotion. He's Rama's servant. He can do anything with the faith in Rama, all doing it for Rama. Sita is centered in Rama through one-pointed love of a wife for her husband. When she is captured by Ravana, she keeps her heart completely pure and focused only on Rama, thinking of only on Rama. Lakshmana is centered on Rama through the intense brotherly love and devotion, wants to protect him. And so many others are centered in Rama, from Rama's parents to the devotees, the boatman, Guhaka, Shabari, who collects fruits for him, waiting for him to come. Even the animals are devoted to Rama. And strangely, also Ravana, the great demon, is also centered in Rama. How? By hating him. He hates him so much that he's thinking about him all the time. So his life is also centered in Rama. Sri Ramakrishna would tell this. Hanuman, of course, goes and finds Sita in the Ashoka grove, and it's so touching how he gradually convinces Sita that he's actually come from Rama, and then he gives her the ring that Rama gave him, and so she sees the ring, and then she realizes, you really are Rama's messenger, and then she starts to get hope again that Rama is going to come and save her. And then she sends back a jewel also that she has, so that Rama knows that Hanuman is not lying when he comes back to Rama and all of that. But Sri Ramakrishna used to say, when Hanuman returned from Sri Lanka, Rama said to him, "You have seen Sita. Tell me, how did you find her? And Hanuman says, O Rama, I saw that only the body of Sita lay there. It held neither her mind nor her soul. She has indeed consecrated her mind and soul to your lotus feet. Therefore, I saw only her body there in Sri Lanka. Further, I saw the king of death prowling about. But what could he do? It was only a body. It had neither mind nor soul. This idea that her mind was so fully fixed on Rama that only her body was there. And Yama, seeing a body, thought, dead body, I'll come and take the soul. But there was no soul. Soul was in Rama. So it's... and Sri Ramakrishna himself had a vision of Sita and says, I saw Sita in a vision. I found that her entire mind was concentrated on the Rama. She was totally indifferent to everything, her hands, her feet, her clothes, her jewels. It seemed that Rama had filled every bit of her life, and she could not remain alive without Rama. So this is Sita. And interesting about his vision of Sita, he related privately to at least one of his disciples that Sita merged in his body and also told him, I bequeath to you my smile. So Sri Ramakrishna, it said that his smile was so beautiful to see. It was like a nectarine smile. There's that one photograph of him in ecstasy with that smile, like a cracked melon. And so it seems that that is Sita's smile. I'd like to relate a little conversation related between Swami Vivekananda and his disciple Sister Nivedita about Rama and the Ramayana. And he gives some little hints that we don't see elsewhere about things. So, this particular point, he says, it was Sri Ramakrishna's firm belief that every great incarnation, either in public or in private, had been a worshipper of Mother, of Divine Mother. Swami Vivekananda himself was a worshipper of Divine Mother, in private only, in secret. Or how could he have got the energy, he asks. And then, this is from the Bengali Ramayana. Rama was called the blue lotus-eyed. His eyes were like blue lotuses, so beautiful. And he trusted to Mother to help him to carry off Sita. He approached the Divine Mother, Durga, to help him win the battle and save Sita. But Ravana had also prayed to Mother. And Rama came to Mother and found Ravana in her arms. So he knew he must do something tremendous. And he vowed 1,001 blue lotuses to her image if she would help him. So Lakshmana goes off and gets the lotuses from the Manas Sarovar, the holy lake in the Himalayas. And Rama begins the great call upon the Mother, worshipping the Divine Mother. And this was in autumn, which is why the Durga Puja is celebrated now in autumn, not the usual time. It's the time of her puja was the spring. So it is in memory of that untimely worship of Rama that the Durga Puja, the great mother worship, is always held in September. So he covers her feet in lotuses, one after another, until 1,000 of them have been offered. And Mother had stolen one. So he had vowed 1,001 lotuses, but there were only 1,000. What's he to do? The last one is missing. But Rama is so determined, he is not to be beaten. He calls for a knife. And he's going to cut out his own eye, because it's a lotus eye, blue lotus eye. He's going to cut out his own eye and lay it at the Mother's feet to fulfill his vow of 1,001 lotuses. And that won the Mother. And she blessed the great hero so that his arms prevailed. That's the story told by Vivekananda. So, we have a few minutes left. Let's just remember Hanumanji. Hanumanji, the great hero of really in some ways the hero of the Ramayana, who through the power of devotion, he did so much. And Interestingly, he is the son of Vayu, the god of the wind. And he had tremendous power, so many powers to make his body huge or make it tiny, to fight with terrible demons. And as a boy, he used to play pranks on the sages and trouble them. And they got annoyed with him and cursed him. What was the curse? You forget your strength. You will forget your strength. So Hanumanji forgot his strength. So he would have to be reminded of it. In order for him to do great things, he would have to be reminded. So there they were, and they understood that Sita must be in Lanka, in Sri Lanka. Who's going to go? There's ocean between India and Lanka. But how to get there? Then Jambavan reminds Hanuman who he is, reminds him of his deeds, reminds him of his strength. Then he remembers, oh yes, I can do it. And so then chanting the name of Rama, fixing his mind on Rama, he jumps, and in one leap, he crosses over. So we are actually, just like Hanuman, we are in the same condition. We have forgotten our strength. We have forgotten our glory. We think that we are weak, pathetic, limited little human beings. No! We are infinite. We are divine. All power is within us. All glory is within us. We are glorious divine beings. So we have to remind ourselves. We have to listen to Swami Vivekananda, who reminds us, and we have to remind ourselves that we are glorious beings. So I'm thinking that we will close with a beautiful story that Sri Ramakrishna used to tell of a simple weaver in the village who was a great devotee of Rama. Surprise. And he was completely surrendered to Rama. And he had, as it were, placed Rama's slippers on the throne of his life and dedicated his whole life to Rama and was just living a completely honest life. And everything was done by Rama. He felt like Rama's will. Everything that happened to him was simply the will of Rama. So Sri Ramakrishna was talking with the devotees on Sunday, October 26, 1884. And he was giving them some spiritual advice, telling them about surrender in life. And he said, God has put you in the world. What can you do about it? Resign everything to Him. Surrender yourself at His feet. Then there will be no more confusion. Then you will realize that it is God who does everything. All depends on the will of Rama. Now, Ramiricha is the Bengali, the will of Rama. And the devotee asks, probably knowing about it, says, oh, what is that story about the will of Rama? And then Sri Ramakrishna launches into, it's actually quite a long story for him. He says, in a certain village, there lived a weaver. He was a very pious soul. Everyone trusted him and loved him. He used to sell his goods in the marketplace. When a customer asked him the price of a piece of cloth, the weaver would say, by the will of Rama, the price of the yarn is 1 rupee and the labor 4 annas. By the will of Rama, the profit is 2 annas. The price of the cloth, by the will of Rama, is 1 rupee and 6 annas. An anna was a fraction of a rupee. That's 1/16 of a rupee. So he's saying, okay, well, because he's selling cloth, so the yarn was this much, and the labor was this much, and I need a little profit, so the profit's this much, and so that's what the price is. And so naturally, such was the people's faith in the weaver, as the story goes, that the customer would at once pay the price and take the cloth. This is very unusual in India. If you've ever been to India, you know that nobody pays the price stated. You have a long haggling. You talk, what? That much? Absolutely not. That's a ripoff. I will give you not more than 1 rupee. And then you go haggling back and forth, finally you settle on a price. But so, just so you know the story, it's remarkable that they wouldn't bargain with him, they would just pay the price. The weaver was a real devotee of God. After finishing his supper in the evening, he would spend long hours in the worship hall, meditating on God and chanting His name and glories. Now, late one night, the weaver couldn't get to sleep. He was sitting in the worship hall, smoking now and then, when a band of robbers happened to pass that way. They wanted a man to carry their goods and said to the weaver, "Come with us." So saying, they led him off by the hand. After committing a robbery in a house, they put a load of things on the weaver's head, commanding him to carry them. Suddenly, the police arrived, and the robbers ran away. But the weaver, with his load, was arrested. He was kept in the lockup for the night. Next day, he was brought before the magistrate for trial. The villagers learnt what had happened and came to court. They said to the magistrate, "Your Honor, this man could never commit a robbery." Thereupon the magistrate asked the weaver to make his statement. The weaver said, "Your Honor, by the will of Rama, I finished my meal at night. Then, by the will of Rama, I was sitting in the worship hall. It was quite late at night, by the will of Rama. By the will of Rama, I had been thinking of God and chanting his name and glories, when, by the will of Rama, a band of robbers passed that way. By the will of Rama, they dragged me with them. By the will of Rama, they committed a robbery in a house, and by the will of Rama, they put a load on my head. Just then, by the will of Rama, the police arrived, and by the will of Rama, I was arrested. Then, by the will of Rama, the police kept me in the lockup for the night, and this morning, by the will of Rama, I have been brought before your honor." The magistrate realized that the weaver was a pious man and ordered his release. On his way home, the weaver said to his friends, "I have been released by the will of Rama." Isn't that a wonderful story? That's just a beautiful expression of complete and total absolute surrender. When something good happens, when something bad, seemingly good, it's all Rama's will. So this is a beautiful example of being centered in Rama, being centered in the divine. Always home wherever he is, because he is always centered in the divine. So my prayer today on this holy day is, may we also grow more in devotion to the divine and learn to always center our lives, our minds and our thoughts on the divine, on Rama, and start learning to accept everything as the will of Rama.